It's time to rendezvous with cassidoo. Ooh, hello everybody. How's it going? My name is Cassidy, and this is Rendezvous with Cassidoo, my weekly newsletter where I talk about what I've been up to this week, what you've been up to this week, web news, a joke, practice coding, and more. And this is the video version of that newsletter, and I'm exhausted. I was at Microsoft Build last week. I talked about it in the previous version of this video, and it's been a lot. I did a whole lot there, and let's talk about it as well as what we're going to do next. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so first of all, I hope you enjoyed the apple emoji that I put here. That was on purpose. What we know is a drop, but what we don't know is an ocean, from Isaac Newton. I thought that this was great because I feel like there's another phrase that it reminded me of where it was like, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. And there's a big world out there. It's good to remember that you don't know everything and be humbled by that. Happy June once again. May flew by. Microsoft Build consumed my brain. I'm so glad to be done with the event. Not that it was a bad experience, but it was a lot, and we'll talk about that in a sec. For the web links of the week, there were some very fun CSS ones and talking about accessibility. So what's missing in CSS layout and revealing text with CSS letter spacing, that was more like opinions about layouts in CSS and how grids are complicated and stuff. And then revealing text with letter spacing, it's kind of just a fun trick. For annotating focus order, good accessibility look at how pages can be more accessible. And then this last one, it's kind of techie, kind of not, beyond blogging platforms, talking about how when you blog and when you create things, you should be able to own your content and have it be portable and movable and all of that. And so I thought that was a very good article, both like philosophically, but also technically speaking. For something that interested me this week, once again, Microsoft Build. It consumed my brain. I gave many talks. See all of those blue lines? Those are the talks. So I spoke in the opening keynote talking about the GitHub Copilot app and Rayfin, which is a backend technology that the team is releasing. And that was so much work. I'm not exaggerating. 16-hour work days, 8 a.m. to midnight, getting stuff out the door to make that 5-minute demo work. But it's out there. Maybe I could do a video about that process. Would you want to see that? We'll talk about it later. Anyway, there was a silly session about vibe coding where it was supposed to be like a game show to show off a vibe coding thing, and I made SQLite in CSS, which is as cursed as you would think, but it was very fun. I did another session about agentic coding. Sorry if you hear my children shouting in the background. I'm not going to edit that out. Anyway, in the session about agentic coding was basically saying how you aren't behind. There's a lot of things that you can do. Just being willing to try and experiment with it means that you're quote unquote ahead of the curve in a lot of different ways. And it was kind of fun to talk about the industry and then put in some demo content. The next session was about the GitHub Copilot CLI and just what is it like? What can it do? What can you use with it? And then I also did a live stream that was kind of like our Rubber Duck Thursdays stream that we do at GitHub every Thursday, shill. It's a thing you can look at. But I did that with my teammate Andrea, which was very fun. Lots of stuff. I also had booth duty. I had like podcasts and interviews that I had to do. It was a lot. And once again, I got a baby crying downstairs. If you hear that, I'm sorry. I better go quick. Anyway, speaking of parenting, because I have to parent, I couldn't be completely silent after this event, but it was a lot of fun. It was a good time. I'm also so tired. And I vlogged about the event a little bit too, where my last newsletter video was me throughout the event. Anyway, and now for our sponsor. Build agents your security team won't make you tear down. If you've ever shipped an agent and then immediately gotten questions about credentials, permissions, or governance, Guild is for you. Guild gives developers a control plane for AI agents with credentials-scoped access, reusable integrations, and an agent hub where you can discover, fork, and deploy agents without building everything from scratch. It's in public beta and free to get started. Check it out at guild.ai. And if you're in San Francisco, join them for their first in-person Meet the Builders event on June 16th. Ad. And for the interview question of the week, last week I had you determine if you could pack a suitcase in reference to all of my travels, honestly, and y'all did a great job. This week's question is based on me playing a lot of solitaire lately, honestly. You have a mini version of solitaire in front of you, and there's a row of 13 cards where each card has a rank from 1 to 13th and a color of red or black. And in one move, you may place a card onto another card immediately to its left if its rank is exactly one less and its color is opposite, and then you remove the moved card from its original position, and you want to return the maximum number of valid moves you can make by repeatedly scanning left to right. And so you can see the examples here where the 6 card can go onto the 7 and then the 5 can go on the 6 because they're opposite colors. And then with that second example, 7 can go on to 8, but 6 can't go on to 7 because they're both red, and 5 can go on to 6. If you would like to submit an answer to this question, you can drop it in the YouTube comments, respond to the email, or reply on socials. As long as I see it, I'll put you in next week's issue. Now for some cool things around the internet. This first article from Salma is How I Made a 45 Video Course Without Wanting to Die. As someone who has made many online courses before, 45 videos is a lot. And so seeing her processes for how she shipped these courses was very interesting and entertaining and honestly kind of motivating. I don't have time for another course, but maybe. What do you want to learn? Be kind of fun. Anyway, Stress is Stress, I thought was a really good just like anecdotal blog about how stress is stress. My stress might look different from your stress. Some might be bigger, some might be smaller, but stress is stress, and be empathetic to people. For acting on complicated things, it was an interesting article about complex versus complicated and just how you should act on the complicated things that don't necessarily have to be complicated. And then this last keyboard was really cool. I like DSS keycaps, and they're a really nice green set of keycaps on here. And finally, for the joke. Chess is now a very popular first date activity in Prague. They are looking for a Czech mate. All right, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm gonna sleep. Maybe, feed my children and stuff. But anyway, I hope you have a great week. Be safe, make good choices, and stick with your gut. You have a lot of very good opinions within you, and you should follow them. See you next week. Bye!